Hi everybody, this is Debbie from the Inspiration Station. Thank you for joining me today. For today's video, I'll be making a layout using a wreath design, but before we get started, I would like to ask you to please like and comment on this video. It helps my channel grow, and I truly appreciate it. So to get started, I'm using one of my very old circle cutter tools. It's made by EK Success. I think it was called the Curvy Cutter, or Curvy Cutter. Anyway, I used it just to trace a circle onto my page. Now you could use a dinner plate or a pie plate or something like that if you don't have a circle cutter or circle tracing tool. It's pretty easy to do. I just used a pencil, and in this case I won't even have to erase the line because I'm going to cover it up with all of these embellishment pieces. The lines that I'm using are both from Simple Stories. It is the Vintage Cottage Fields collection and Vintage Botanical. Both of them are kind of an older line, but they work really well together. And I chose to do this wreath design because I had so many of their bits and pieces and ephemera that I knew I just wasn't going to use it. I'd have to make 10 pages, I think, in order to use all of these pieces up, and they're so beautiful, I hate to see them go to waste. So I decided I would create a wreath. I am using, that looks like a piece of chipboard there. I had a couple of pieces of chipboard from one of the lines. And the title that I'm using, there it is, The Bloom and Grow, it either came from Cottage Fields or Indigo Garden. It's one of their page pieces. They sell a packet that has a title and some embellishments. So basically you can make a very simple page with just that pack. So they're great products. You can see here that I'm laying out all of my pieces, and they were beginning to shift around, so I decided I better start gluing some things down. And of course I started with the photos because that's the most important part of my page, and I wanted them in the upper left and lower right corner. To begin with, I made small clusters using the photo and some tags that I had cut out of the 6x8 paper. And I'm going to glue those down first on the lines in those corners diagonally. The drawn line will help me to line everything else up. I did go and lay everything out prior to gluing everything down, and I took a photo of it so that I could refer to it, and then for whatever reason I never did refer to it. So I just kind of started all over again, placing the largest pieces first and then trying to fill in. So you'll see here that I'm starting with those big floral pieces. I will add in the butterflies a little bit later. Most of the elements on this page are in the pink tones. So I chose that tag that says Hello Lovely. It was actually a 3x4 card, and I used my tag die to cut it smaller. I wanted to bring in the contrast of that black, but I didn't want the huge 3x4 element on the page. So I found a small tag die and cut it out. That's one of the things that I seem to forget to do. You know, I look at the 3x4 cut apart cards and my mind automatically thinks I have to use them as a 3x4. But I see so many great scrapbookers cut pieces apart and make different embellishments out of those cards. So I thought this was a good opportunity to try that. I'm bringing that title in, and I did put that on foam tape, so I will stick that down in the center, and I will still continue to build the wreath and work around it. I have that cute little phrase that says love you forever. That's one of our favorite things in our family. When my youngest son was little, we used to read that book all the time, and so the book and the phrase are a family favorite. So I'm going to keep putting these things down, trying to balance out where the colors are going to go. You'll see I did mostly the pinks first, and then later on I'll bring in that turquoise or aqua color. While I'm doing that, putting everything together, I just talk a minute about the photos. These are photos of my granddaughter. She just turned a year old, and she is the cutest little thing. And she reminds me of her mom. My daughter did not have very much hair at a year old, and this little girl doesn't either. So it was really fun when she had enough that her mom was able to put these two little pigtails in her hair. And I just thought she was so cute. And the photo on the upper left just cracked me up, the expression on her face. She is very what's the word I'm looking for? Expressive, I guess is the word. She makes the cutest faces. So here I'm just going to add some crochet cotton to the top of that tag. We'll give it a little bit of movement and softness to the page. Over to the right, you can see that I have a sheet of word strip stickers. Those came from the Cottage Fields, Simple Vintage Cottage Fields collection. I will be adding those onto the page in just a few minutes once I finish getting all of these die cuts stuck down. There were quite a few of them, and I did have to cut a little bit of footage out just for time's sake. I wanted to add that little banner in to bring in more of that greenish aqua color. And here's those word strips. I am putting them on the page, auditioning them first, and then I decided where I wanted them in a visual triangle. Following that, I chose to put my finishing touch on, which will be these rhinestone stickers, and they are super old. I can't even tell you how many years or maybe even decades that I've had them. So the glue did not stick to the rhinestones. I had to bring out some liquid adhesive to get those to stick to the page, and I just sprinkled them around. I noticed at this point that the layout was skewed just a little bit to the right, so I decided to mat the whole page. That way I could trim off 1/4 of an inch on the side that was a little bit wider and make it just a little bit more centered on the page. With that, my layout is complete. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the process video, and I will leave you with some stills at the end. And thank you again for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.